Hello, kiddies. It's your old pal, the Crypt Keeper here from Boys and Ghouls Film Review Podcast. That's right, kiddies. It's your old pal Sarah here with her co-host Mike.
G'day.
Just kidding, guys.
We love Johnny Cassia. He's
I want my turn to do the Cassia look. But anyway, guys, happy Christmas to you guys out there.
Almost Christmas now, guys. Yeah.
Yes, so it's getting close to that time of the year where you have to get your stocking together, get some nice presents under the tree, and put up your bright lights, and hopefully have a very safe Christmas too.
And remember, all you naughty people out there, you may get a lump of coal if you're really lucky.
Yes. To celebrate this season, we thought we might give you a few good themed, Christmas
movies, which we're not doing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, if that's so,
No.
Don't get worried.
Not yet. No. Anyway, this one we decided to go with Puppet Master versus
Demonic Toys.
That was released in year 2004, I think.
Yeah, now this was a non-canon crossover horror film. For those of you who don't understand the word non-canon, I'll just explain it to you. It's when they make a movie which isn't in line with the current thread of the movie storyline. When they make, are we going to do a spin-off or something? It's like, so that's the closest way I can explain it. And the crossover is when they actually put people or identities from two different movies into the one movie.
Yeah.
So that's like putting, say, Superman and Batman into a movie.
Yeah,
that becomes like a crossover.
Yeah, just so you know, guys, this one, both these two movies, or they've crossed, they're both taken from the same production company, Full Moon Features, just so you know. And I think it looks pretty good from where I stand. Taking two creepy
two concepts,
concepts, and turning into one big concept.
Yeah, it worked. I think. Look, we'll discuss the movies as we go through anyway. But it worked in the same way. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I'll just go through the usual things I do as I do. Anyway, now this movie is obviously based on characters from the original Puppet Master books and the Demonic Toys book stories, whatever scripts. Now, written by C. Courtney Joyner, directed by Ted Nicolaou, I think that's the right pronunciation, and produced by Alan Burstein and Carrie Gleiberman. Gleiberman. Now, this was made direct for TV, and it was released in December 2004. On NBC's Universal's Sci-Fi channel, or whatever.
Go figure it.
Well, I don't watch that sort of stuff. I don't do pay TV and stuff. So,
Me neither.
So obviously, it must be a good place to watch these sort of movies.
Yeah.
Good platform, as it were. The cast, I just got the main ones here. We've got Corey Feldman. He plays Robert Toulon, who is the great grandnephew of Andre Toulon, who was the original Puppet Master. Danielle Keaton, he plays Alexandra Toulon, that's his daughter. Now we've got a really nice lady here called Vanessa. I think I might have misspoke the last name, but it might be Angel or Angel. I can't remember. I might have hit the wrong button on my computer. Angel,
Probably.
Is it?
Yeah, Angel.
Vanessa Angel. She plays Erica Sharpe. She's the mean lady who has a demon working for her. She's not a very nice piece at all. And there's a really nice lady called Sylvia Suvadova, I think is the right pronunciation, and she plays a Sergeant Jessica Russell, and she's really nice and cute. I like her. She's really fun.
She is very pretty, and Robert Toulon kind of has a bit of a crush on her.
Yes, yeah, I would. Yeah. Now, just talk about the crossovers. We got the puppets from the Puppet Master series that are in this movie are Blade, Pinhead, Jester, and Six Shooter. And out of the demonic toys guys, we have Baby Oopsie Daisy,
Jack
Jack Attack, and Grizzly Teddy. They sound really ominous guys, don't they?
Yeah, very evil creatures.
Now, I think it covers the cast and the identities of the toys.
Originally, this was meant to be going to be originally, the original idea for this many years ago, it was going to be for a TV series of using the Puppet Master with demented toys, but it was scrapped. But I guess it was picked up much later on to make into a special TV movie special to show on, on television.
Whatever.
Okay. So that's kind of good. They brought it back into, brought it back.
So the idea works. It's good. Anyway, do you want to go into it now and start telling? Once upon a time, there was 3 toys or something. Or?
Yeah, something like that. So the story begins with Robert Toulon in his toy shop, with his daughter, and they're just putting together a batch of special Andrew Toulon's formula that makes the puppets come to life. And this formula is a mixture of alcohol and blood. This is what it says on Wikipedia.
There may be some other stuff in there, but the main ingredients.
I think it's vodka because I look at the bottles and they make me think of vodka bottles.
I think it's vodka or gin. I can't remember.
I can't really know.
Anyway, it was a clear liquid.
Yes, and as for the other chemicals, we'll never know. Meanwhile, the bad guys are evil. What's her name? Erica Sharpe. She knows about what they're doing, and she wants the puppets. Don't ask me why, but she is.
She wants to have. She's always been a spoiled brat when she was a kid, and Daddy gave her everything, and she wanted living, breathing puppets. So they're making a deal with a demon to give her some living, breathing dolls or something
toys
from hell. Yeah.
And as it turns out, the
and
toys.
She wasn't happy with them. They're disruptive and naughty and wouldn't play the way she wanted to play.
Yeah. The demented toys. If you watch the movies, you'll see that they're practically nasty, naughty creatures.
Well, Annabelle. Nice dolly.
Yeah. Cheeky and a bit...
Chucky.
Yeah, very Chucky-like.
Yeah, they do what they like,
Yeah.
That's why they're in hell. Go figure it, hey.
Anyway, so the formula works, and the puppets come to life, and as Mike mentioned, it's Blade, Pinhead, Six Shooter, and Jester. And they're really fun to meet the Toulons. And
doesn't Andre Toulon appeared and introduces his grandson?
No.
That's another movie, was it?
That's a different movie.
Yeah. No, I'm just going. Yeah, I couldn't remember. So they just accepted him. I think he told them who he was.
Yeah, because
they said that's cool.
Yeah, these puppets, they sort of it doesn't matter. Well, as I said before, this one only doesn't have any references to the other Puppet Master movies too much. Yeah. I mean, it mentions that this movie was script written by the same writer who did the third Puppet Master movie, just so you know. And that was kind of cool. Shame about it being scrapped in the first place.
Well, there you go then.
Anyway, so our later that night, when the puppets went to bed or something, the Erica's Sharpe's agents decided to go in and steal the puppets.
Oh, yeah. Hey, well, no, we'll just backtrack here. This Erica Sharpe lady has had a little hidden camera in the shape of something, a lady beetle or something.
A toy lady beetle.
So it can move around a little bit. So it's really small, and they could actually spy on Robert and his daughter with their experiments. And now Erica knows they've discovered the formula, and she's aware of Andre Toulon's living and breathing puppets, so she wants it.
Yeah. She also made a big deal with a demon.
Bale, I think. Bale.
Yeah, and they made the deal that he gets Toulon's Alex Toulon's blood for a deal, and she gets the father. I think she wants to drain dear old Robert Toulon dry. Well,
actually, there's a side story here. The original Toulon, who's never come into the story, supposedly. This is a spin-off story.
Andrew Toulon's grandfather, I think. I'm not sure.
No. But even before that, he actually made a deal with this demon. And in exchange for this deal, he was supposed to give him his soul. And his soul escaped him and went into the forest and went into a tree or something or other. Then Andre Toulon, when he came along so many years later, carved his first puppet out of the wood from that tree.
Cast a few puppets, yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah, there's a bit of family history in there, isn't there?
Yes,
Hey,
and...
did it make the family tree?
Maybe.
Okay, whatever.
So, anyway, so the story goes on. The criminals couldn't get the puppets. Somehow there was a bit of a fire and some chemicals got knocked over.
The puppets are fighting for their freedom.
Yes.
I think 6 years have made knocked the chemicals over or something. Yeah. Accidentally. Yeah.
Eventually, the fire alarm got tripped and the bad guys escape. And lucky for us, Alex Toulon was able to put out the fire with the fire extinguisher. But then cavalry comes calling in the form of Sergeant Jessica Russell.
Honey, actually.
And of course, as I said before, Robert Toulon is smitten with her.
I'm pretty smitten with myself.
Anyway, he then says that maybe he just tripped the fire alarm accidentally and just tripped over the chemicals and set the fire himself.
We do want to explain to her that I've got these living puppets running around here, or how would you explain it to someone who's not a true believer?
I don't know. Yes. Yeah, anyway, she doesn't buy it for a second, but she's willing to accept it and just move on.
Less paperwork that way.
Yes. But anyway, they worked out, Alex and Robert realize that they're being bugged, and he knows this. He finds out about the ladybug.
You see, he's being bugged, and it's the ladybird. The lady beetle.
So anyway, he finds the lady beetle, and he remembers that during an interview flashback, he was going for a job interview at the Sharpe's toy manufacturing place, but unfortunately they turned him down and gave him a replica toy of the ladybug, and he went on his way.
And you know why?
Why?
Because that lady knew who he was, and she gave him the ladybird because he was going to spy for her.
Yeah, and he threw it out like, say, 7 or 8 times.
And it kept coming back.
Yeah, and he thought maybe it was his daughter, Alex, who was bringing it back into the house.
So he just left it there, didn't worry about it.
Yes. Anyway, well, I don't know about that.
Well, he did. He just moved around, though.
So they know now that they're being bugged. So they then leave the toy shop to go to either his mother-in-law or his mother's house, mansion, I should say.
I think it was his mother's house. I think.
Yeah.
Not
See,
sure, but
his
doesn't matter.
wife. I should mention this earlier. His wife. She left Robert for a younger man. It's one of those weird stories where mother meets younger, good-looking guy and leaves husband and daughter, and doesn't have an explanation or bother affording address or where she's gone. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So moving on to the story, the Robert Toulon upgrades the puppets using special scientific technology like Terminator stuff.
Exactly.
And it looks really cool, especially 6-shooters guns replaced with laser pistols.
Yeah, that's quite good actually. It scared the crap out of me.
Oh yes. Anyway, moving on, and then we have a flashback back to when Robert Toulon was attacked earlier, and he remembers a tattoo on one of the assailant's wrists.
Yeah.
Where it shows a bit of a $sign in a Satan's design, and his daughter brings up that it was from a rock group that she was into when her parents were splitting up. And they then realized that they're dealing with devil worshippers.
Yeah. It was a demonic symbol of some description. Yeah, some type. Yeah.
Yes, so they
So
realize
they're
that.
either into heavy metal or they're into demonology.
Yes, so they know they're in deep, deep, deep trouble
A lot
now.
of deep car. Yeah.
Yes. Meanwhile, he then goes and talks to the sergeant lady, Jessica, and tell her about what he may have found. And she says that she's going off to the toy factory because technically there's a special, she's going to be picking up some dolls and toys so they can be given at the policeman's sort of charity auction thing, whatever they call it, charity kids auction thing.
They're collecting toys to hand out to kiddies for Christmas or something or other.
Yes, like that. And of course, she's cool to do that, but at first Robert thinks that she's possibly a spy for the toy manufacturing guys. He then makes us skeptical of himself by going down there. He ends up meeting baby Oopsie Daisy in the process, nearly gets tackled by it, and along the way he makes a public spectacle of himself in front of everyone.
And they think he's crackers. Yeah.
Yes, and of course Jessica takes him outside, gives him a severe slapping on the butt.
Ooh, nice.
Not really. I'm just joking.
That's right.
And she.
I like the first version.
So she then tells him that he should just go home, just hang out with his daughter and all that stuff, and just forget about what just happened.
Yeah, make a bowl of popcorn, watch some telly.
So he ends up going back, and she ends up. Well, let me see what happens next. Oh yeah, now I remember. She then realizes that what's going on. She eventually goes to the toy store to find out what's going on, and she runs into both Grizzly Bear and Oopsie Daisy doll, and she then realized the Robert Toulon is not as crackers as he makes out to be.
He looks a bit crackers, but yeah. Well, he does.
Yes. Anyway, eventually she then works out that Robert and Alex have gone to his mum's mansion to stay for a few days.
Yeah, to get away from the naughty guys.
Yes. And eventually she comes there and he explains the story, a little bit of the story, and he then works out that the demented dolls are going to be awakened during Christmas time.
Christmas Eve or Christmas morning or something. Yeah.
Once the final ceremony is completed.
And that was the draining of the blood of
a virgin,
or in this case probably Alex Trulon's
blood. Then the dolls will come to life and start killing and naming these people. Everyone.
Well, killing. I think it's to kill off these innocent children to get more blood.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, that's the demon's plan and Erica's plan and all that. Anyway, eventually,
fun.
Eventually, Jessica goes off to her car to report what she finds, and baby Oopsie Daisy knocks her out in his fashion, and he calls in the fact that where Trulon and his daughter are at by phoning her up on a mobile phone.
Well, hey, what a smart little dolly.
Eventually, the bad guys come. They abduct Alex. And Robert Toulon was knocked out by Jack Attack.
Oh, Jack in the Box, yeah.
Yeah. And they're brought to the factory. And, of course, in this instance, it becomes a bit weird because in this scene, Erica starts putting the moves on Robert Toulon. In the worst funny way.
In the nicest possible way.
Yeah, trying to make out she wants a baby with him, yada, yada, yada. I suspect that once she's probably planning, if she got pregnant by Robert Toulon, she'll have a baby and probably use it as a continuation of...
You said Jessica.
Oh, sorry, not Jessica.
The other one.
Yeah, sorry. Erica. She plans on draining the blood from both Robert and Toulon, and hopefully maybe if she gets a baby, she might be able to use it as leverage to continue, getting...
her evil doings.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's gross when I think about it. It's not worth minding. As soon as Jessica revives back at the police car and was able to get to the toy factory. Eventually, the puppets, they start noticing their boss is in trouble and start going into action.
They go into battle. Aha!
Yeah,
what are friends
yeah,
for?
they get inside a special metal box, but luckily enough, dear old 6-shooter, he kind of burnt,
Well, you got lasers now instead of just little bullets, so he just cut his way through the side of the box. Very handy
very clever.
indeed, yeah.
And of course, dear
Beats
old
a can
Pinhead
opener, yeah.
uses his fist to punch the hole through.
Exactly, he's a strong little fellow. Yeah.
Yes, he's a very strong fella. Yeah, thanks to their new weapons, they're able to fight.
He did have a strength enhancer or something for Pinhead, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, they take down dear old Jack Attack, whatever.
Yeah, they came enough or something, didn't they?
Yeah, they do.
It didn't stop me totally.
No, technically, without the box, he's still a dangerous creature. Eventually, they take out the other guys in the process. Way to go, Puppet Master Toys.
Exactly.
And dear old Jessica appears, and they head down into the basement using a special key medallion to get down to
the lower level.
See,
where Bale and Bale and the dolls and everything usually hang out, and there's also a shaft to go down to hell, supposedly.
Yeah, it goes really down like Men in Black style, if you will.
Ooh.
Or something.
We haven't done the movie, have we?
Not yet, but we will.
We won't yet.
Anyway, so moving on. So they're about to complete the ritual. They threw down a new secretary, because...
Oh, yeah, they use the old Virgin Secretary to placate the demons a bit, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, the old virgin blood goes a long way here.
And of course, Alex is inside a special Iron Maiden device that can drain the blood from her when it's all...
When you close it.
When you close it. And the little pointy bits inside it, they're retractable or something like that.
Well, when they close the Iron Maiden, then they do something, and then
they crank it, and
they crank it,
and all these spikes start piercing into the person.
Closer to the person inside the Iron Maiden and pierce them. And that's so interesting. Oh, good concept.
Agreed. You don't have to be speared right away, making a quick, easy death or something.
Exactly.
Anyway, they're about to do the ritual, and somehow dear old Robert Toulon and his puppets appear, and they start fighting out. And while this is happening, Erica is trying to close up the box and tries to turn the machine on, but luckily enough, Jessica is able to shoot the machine and it stops, I think.
Well, the police are good guys.
Yes. Yep. And fortunately, the sun eventually rises, and too little, too late.
Yeah, that's the whole point. It had to be done by sunrise.
Yeah, before sunrise. And of course, the demon is displeased, and he wants to take Erica down to hell to
make her a slave forever.
And eventually, she and the demon, they head down to the lower level. Yeah, if you get my meaning, hell.
Highway to hell. Sorry.
Yeah. Eventually, Robert is able to release Alex, and he congratulates the puppets for a job well done. And all that. And of course, Pinhead is very badly damaged. His arm has been wrenched open from the fight, but I'm sure they'll fix it.
They'll fix him, always do. You can't keep a good puppet down. Yeah.
True. So they end up leaving the factory, and Jessica phones her sister. I think she gave her two of the toys to her sister's kids.
She told her to throw them away.
And she told them earlier to throw them away when they were going down to the lower level earlier. And she then gives Robert and Alex an invitation to come to Christmas dinner.
Nice.
And which they oblige.
Warm and fluffy time. What if he gets a kiss under the mistletoe? Nice.
Eventually, he does ask her before they head off, would she not put in the report about the Trulon's puppets? And she says that she's willing to do that, as provided she's given visitation rights. And he says he's fine with it.
Yeah.
And eventually they head off down in during the sunrise, singing Christmas carols.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, well, okay, fair enough. It is Christmas
and
time.
as a bit of a final funny joke, we see baby Oopsie Daisy
Come out top of the well
saying,
or whatever, and
yeah,
says something like, "Have a crappy Christmas, something or other," or
yeah, yeah,
what did it say? What is something ridiculous? What did it
yeah.
say? Merry Christmas, my ass, and a crappy New Year. That's what. Not my words. That's in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and he briefly, before he heads off, says "see ya" really fast.
Yes, he
You
goes
don't
back
hear
that hole,
you don't hear it really fast. It's just a hint.
Yeah, that's rather rude. That. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very rude little baby doll. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Oh, it's supposed to be a demon. Yeah, I mean,
true.
Chucky wasn't warm and friendly, was he?
Yeah, yeah. I can see why.
And Annabelle.
I can see why they're different. When you look at these two different different toys, then I can see that the fact that the demonic toys are more funny and a bit gross, and while the Puppet Master dolls are more
Serious.
efficient and
Yeah.
about what they're doing here.
Yeah, but it's a bit of fun and games and stuff. And
Of course, they have their own level of fun and excitement and enjoyment.
have they?
Yeah, well, I do enjoy them, especially I like gestures, expressions taking on surprised, a bit happy, and a bit of a crybaby sad look.
Who's this?
Jester.
Oh, Jester. Oh, yeah.
Jester the doll.
Keep changing his face. Yeah.
Yeah, where he just
Interesting.
it spins in a funny fashion, whatever.
Surprise, sadness, happy. Yeah.
I didn't mention this in our last podcast episode when we were talking about the full franchise. I realized that during the whole film franchise, they often used let me see, what do they use? They kind of used throughout the film franchise. They reused scenes in their movies a lot. Like they reused them over and over.
Okay.
Like
I haven't been paying that close attention to the film footage.
well,
so,
you just have to pay attention, like know the differences, but at the same time, you notice the costume differences here and there.
Well, yeah, and I suppose the dolls don't get changed very often, do they?
And their facial expressions change a lot. I mean, not the expressions. I mean, like you know right away.
It's not the same puppet.
Then it's not the same puppet.
Yeah, that's new. That's a new figure. Yeah. I must have a close look. I must admit that during the course of the movies, they did change a bit, but I didn't notice the actual film footage a bit. Interesting.
Agreed.
Have a look at that. That means you've got to watch them all again, does it? Oh, no. How many are there? Nine?
Like a lot. But again, I usually pick out the very best ones that kind of make me less crazy.
Yeah, well, that's it too, yeah. It's like Jason Voorhees. Jason 10's a really good movie, and the first movie is really good. The other ones are, well, not bad, but so yeah. You pick your good ones.
Yeah. Anyway, the head in the poster from this movie was featured on the cover of the Puppet Master. What's that one?
What's that? Puppet Master, Axis of Evil.
Yeah, that's just another.
Another movie.
They did another
spin-off or.
Well, not spin-off. It's more of another separate story.
So
they had
a non-canon type story, I gather. Okay, right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm getting a new word, non-canon.
Yeah, anyway, as I was saying, let me see. Throughout this movie is considered canon reference. They, as I said before, this movie was written by the same people who written the Puppet Master 3 movie. Even throughout the movie, they mention characters, still references of previous events from the third movie, like the part about Andre Trulong fighting against the horrible Nazi guys.
Yeah.
That's mentioned in this movie.
Interesting.
Which is kind of...
Well, see, that whole point, that's the period he's supposed to grew up in, Andre Trulong, because when he was a young man, he was going through the war. And there was a lot of stuff there. And that movie where he was young, he had the puppets there, and the retro one, and he said where the beginning was, that was before the war, had people spying on him and different things, and so it would be about the right period. Yeah. World War One or World War Two. Interesting.
Yeah, another thing about this movie, the formula that we've heard so much about that brings the puppets to life, its color is different in this one. Instead of the usual green
colour.
reanimated color, one's a bluish blue color.
Yeah, the other one was like absinthe.
Yeah.
That'd bring you to life for a little bit, then knock you out.
Hey, this is made of alcohol, so no surprise.
Well, wouldn't that make the puppets drunk?
No, maybe it would give them their heart a bit of a, lift.
Well, mine going, yeah.
I mean, alcohol does bring a little bit of life to the party.
It does. Unless their inhibitions, I'd do anything. Yeah. You can't trust those puppets. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta admit though, this movie does make me think of Halloween, Season of the Witch. That movie. I mean, with the whole song and the fact that it mentions on a certain day something weird happens in the story. Like by the end of Season of the Witch, you find out if they play that a certain time of day during the Halloween that some weird stuff starts occurring if they don't stop the horrible commercial from
really corny commercial.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that was like a trigger or something. Yeah. How do I have to go back and look at that? Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I mean, whenever I look at that, I am sad that didn't work so well for them when you look at that movie.
Yeah, look, not every movie works well. I mean, I've mentioned it before to you. I might have mentioned on the podcast that if you get the mix right, even an average movie can be really good, and a good movie, if you don't get the mix right, can actually be not quite so good.
Agreed.
You got to get. It's sometimes a good script isn't good enough if it hasn't got the right director or don't have the right casting, or if you get the mix right, you got a reasonably good script, a good director, and the right actors and stuff. You can usually pull off a really good movie. But if there's something missing in the equation, sometimes something's lacking. Like, the wrong director, he hasn't got the right spirit behind him. He just he can't bring it to its full potential.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because a lot of good movies there, which have been badmouthed by critics and the public and whatever, but they were basically good movies, but they're lacking something. So,
I've been reading about a mixture of different reviewers and all that stuff, and it gave me a lot of ideas of how one reviewer might be different from another reviewer and stuff like that.
But I think some of the reviewers really need to get off the troll bandwagon. Because I don't like this sort of movie, so I'm gonna rip it apart. It's not a good way to do a film review. It should be unbiased. And I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work for me. They're nothing more than paid trolls. That's it. So not good. Don't like them. Anyway, moving right along.
Yes. Should we
I was going to say I can't do anything out in reviews because this hasn't been reviewed by anybody as far as I'm aware. So I don't know what public opinion is or any critics. So I can't tell you anything.
Man, I can't really tell you too much about that either. But so anyway, do you want to rate this now?
I can't think of anything else I want to talk about. It's we'll rate it now.
Okay, so how do you rate this movie, Mike?
Look, as a standalone movie, obviously this is not part of the same thread of the storyline. Forgetting those, I think it's a passable movie. Say, I'd have to rate it about 8.5. Yeah, 8.5. No, I don't think it quite gets a 9 for me. 8.5's good. Yeah, 8.5, definitely.
I think I'll give it a 9 out of 10 myself.
Yeah, okay, that's not bad. Hey, by the way, it is available on Amazon and eBay, but it's very limited, and it might not be forever. And it doesn't seem to be on YouTube. So at the moment, if you're interested, you might find it in a second-hand DVD shop, or on the second-hand market on the computers, whatever. We've got something like Gumtree over here and different things. There might be things in other countries where you might be able to get a second-hand video of this. However, if you can get a copy of it or know somebody who has a copy of it, it's worth a watch. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's our thoughts on this movie, guys. So this is about it for us today. So this is Sarah Stephenson
And Michael Stephenson.
saying we'll see you guys next time.
Ho, ho, ho. It's almost Christmas. Bye.
Bye.